Mini episode 1084 of the FDH Lounge is brought to you by Sportsology, delivering unconventional columns and webcasts about sports, TV, music, movies, and more. Follow them on the web at sportsology.com.
The FDH Lounge. You'll want to schedule your life around it.
A long time ago, on a gloomy, wet Cleveland spring night, two men stand alone amidst the late-night drizzle. Their voices echo across the vacant station parking lot as they debate the merits of the great American radio show that have been missing for far too long. On that night, an idea was born. That idea became the FDH Lounge. Welcome to the FDH Lounge.
Welcome to FDH Lounge mini episode 1084. I'm FDH managing partner Rick Morris here with our 2018-19 NFL Wild Card Round preview. Last week we went 9-7, bringing us to 120, 124, and 9 on the season. We went 2-1 on the Big Three and 0-1 on the lock, making us 26 and 25 and 8 and 9 on those respectively. This is the best, most competitive wild card weekend top to bottom in perhaps a decade, and the first prediction here is that the ratings will be very strong indeed. Late Saturday afternoon in a spot that is seemingly permanently owned on wild card weekend by the AFC South and the AFC West, it's the Colts at the Texans, getting 1, down from 2.5. Indy was 10th on our final power rankings. Houston was 9th. Indy was 31st on our strength of schedule index. Houston was 26th. Indy was 28th on our impressiveness of victories index. Houston was 14th. Indy was 8th in DVOA. Houston was 11th. Indy was 10th in offensive DVOA and 7th in offensive yards. Houston was 21st and 15th respectively. Indy was 10th in defensive DVOA and 11th in defensive yards. Houston was 7th and 12th, respectively. Indy was 12th in special teams DVOA. Houston was 5th. In our overall team UQB rankings, Indy was 9th. Houston was 8th. A few things jump out here. The Texans have the far greater QB protection issues, and the Colts are pretty sweet on third downs, which will help them in extending drives. They're the pick here. On Saturday night, Dallas hosts Seattle, laying 2.5. Dallas was 11th in our final power rankings. Seattle was 8th. Dallas was 22nd in our strength of schedule index. Seattle was 27th. Dallas was 13th in our impressiveness of victories index. Seattle was 21st. Dallas was 21st in DVOA. Seattle was 12th. Dallas was 24th in offensive DVOA and 22nd in offensive yards. Seattle was 9th and 18th respectively. Dallas was 9th in defensive DVOA and 7th in defensive yards. Seattle was 14th and 16th respectively. Dallas was 23rd in special teams DVOA. Seattle was 24th. In our overall team UQB rankings, Dallas was tied for 16th. Seattle was 13th. The Cowboys can't do squat against mobile quarterbacks, so they definitely drew a bad matchup. Both teams are amazing on the ground, with Big D tougher in stopping it, but they've also got some of the worst third down defense of any playoff team, and thus they'll struggle to get off the field, take the points. Early Sunday afternoon, in what always seems to be an AFC spot, the Chargers hook up with Baltimore, getting the cliche field goal. LA was 5th in our final power rankings. Baltimore was 6th. LA was 29th in our strength of schedule index. Baltimore was 21st. LA was 8th in our impressiveness of victories index. Baltimore was 11th. LA was 3rd in DVOA. Baltimore was 6th. LA was 3rd in offensive DVOA and 11th in offensive yards. Baltimore was 15th and 9th respectively. LA was 8th in defensive DVOA and 9th in defensive yards. Baltimore was 3rd and 1st respectively. LA was 25th in special teams DVOA. Baltimore was 6th. In our overall team UQB rankings, LA was 4th and Baltimore was 2nd. On third downs, Baltimore is incredibly tough on both sides of the ball, so that will negate at least some of the familiarity that the Chargers gained in their game 2 weeks ago. Lay the number. We'd better get some fog rolling over Soldier Field for this one. It's the Eagles and the Bears, with the home side laying 6.5, up from 5.5. Philly was 12th in our final power rankings. Chicago was 2nd. Philly was 13th in our strength of schedule index. Chicago was dead last in the league. Philly was 6th in our impressiveness of victories index. Chicago was 30th. Philly was 16th in DVOA. Chicago was 5th. Philly was 16th in offensive DVOA and 14th in offensive yards. Chicago was 20th and 21st respectively. Philly was 15th in defensive DVOA and 23rd in defensive yards. Chicago was 1st and 3rd respectively. Philly was 15th in special teams DVOA. Chicago was 26th. In our overall team UQB rankings, Philly was 12th and Chicago was 11th. Both teams are very strong in time of possession and seem to require it for success. It's harder to imagine the Bears surrendering sustained drives, so we're going with them. Thank you for tuning into this mini episode of the FDH Lounge.
As we bring the show to a close, we would like to extend our deepest gratitude to NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, all Clear Channel affiliates, TNT, TBS, USA, UPN, Deadspin.com, YouTube.com, YTMND.com, MySpace.com, various blogs, Fox News, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, IamBoard.com, Billboard.com, Google.com, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPN Classic, NBA TV, NFL Network, Sports Time Ohio, Athlon Magazine, Comedy Central, Cartoon Network, The Boomerang Channel, QVC, BET, The Spice Channel, Steno Notebooks, Manwich, Papermate Office Supplies, waitresses, strippers, bartenders, garbage men, janitors, microwave popcorn, the writers of The Office, Scrubs, Entourage, My Name is Earl, Oz, Metalocalypse and the Boondocks, Aquafina, and The Periodic Table of Elements.